The annual UFC event in Miami is, in my opinion, the best card of the year. It's better than MSG, it's better than T-Mobile, even better than International Fight Week most of the time. So I remember Cheeto versus O'Malley 2 was my favorite card of 2024. I remember Lopez versus Volkanovski was my favorite card of 2025. And Pereira versus Adesanya was phenomenal too. Today we're going to go ahead and build out an entire card that's realistic and that also includes the fights that have already been confirmed, because knock knock, UFC 327 is only one event away and we still have no clue what the main event for this one's going to be, what some of the fights are going to be. So today we're going to really, flesh this thing out and be realistic here. It's cold as fuck where I live right now, so it's nice thinking about UFC Miami. The general trend here is just dudes that look good without a shirt. And immediately, starting off the card is Islam Dulatov versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. We're not doing early prelims today because I just don't give a fuck. This would be the prelim opener. And I have a reasonable cause here. So first of all, what you got to understand about UFC Miami is anybody would literally fight on this card. It's probably the most, next to MSG, popular card that a fighter would want to fight on. So any of these matchups is realistic just because you know that they would all be down for it. I'll put Dulatov on here just because it's been a minute since we last saw him. He's not ready, of course, for a top 15 opponent yet, though he's very dangerous and very good. Got a nice power in his hands. But I think we feed him to like a mid unranked welterweight guy. You don't give him a can. I don't like what they're doing with Gauthier at the moment, just giving him janitors and barbers. But let's give him somebody that's kind of like, Santiago Ponzinibbio has been around the block for a minute. He's been finished by everybody that's good. And he's, finished everybody that isn't. So let's get him in there, build him up. And from there on, I think if he beats Santiago Ponzinibbio, let's just give Islam Dulatov somebody that's kind of just outside the rankings to really see what he's all about. But I think this is a good fight to build him. I don't think you have to give him infant treatment and just feed him like 4 cans before you do anything remarkable. So yeah, this is the prelim starter. And right after that, why is my shit not working? Gilbert Burns versus Bonfim. Gilbert just fights on the Miami card a lot. He did it in 2024. He did it in 2023. And he's going to do it again this year. I mean, he last got finished by Michael Morales. The dangerous contender streak needs to stop. I would love to see him versus Covington, of course. But Covington's not coming back for UFC Miami. That's already a wrap. I can guarantee that. And I don't think Bonfim is that dangerous of a contender. I know he chinned Randy Brown, but this should be somebody just looking at the matchup that Gilbert Burns can take care of. I think if you're the UFC, you either make like a Unk matchup with him and Covington, or you give him a free win. Let's be nice here, Let's be chill here. Give him something to break the losing streak off of. And I think Bonfim is that guy. I don't know. I'm just not that impressed by him yet. And he's just in the top 15. So let's have Gilbert Burns show him what the Unks are all about. Next fight. This is in the works, just so you guys know. So I think this is pretty much confirmed. They're looking at doing Holland versus Randy Brown. And I love this fight. I think this is great. Randy, of course, having been chinned by Bonfim previously, going out there now versus Kevin Holland. I think Bonfim actually beats him in this matchup. Holland just kind of, you can't pick against or for Kevin Holland, though. That's the thing. It's kind of like a mirror build. They're both just skinny, lanky black dudes that have a little bit of a pop in their hands. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two kind of fight each other, because it would show you how they would fight themselves. But yeah, we're going with that. Like I said, they talked about it, so this is pretty much a wrap. And this one as well. This one went under my radar, but we're probably going to have Sterling versus Zalal on this card, which is great. I think this is good for Sterling to get closer to the title picture. I think he's too disrespected in the division right now. He had 2 good wins. Or, well, Cater is mid, but he had a win over, what's the kid's name? Brian Ortega. And he literally is like one, maybe if you really don't like him, 2 fights away from a title shot. And I think Yusuf Zalal is like the type of win you get, and then you're 1 more away from the title shot. So, yeah, Zalal, I remember this kid getting just fucking dogged by Topuria. But he's come a long way, man. He's come a long way. He looked good against Josh Emmett, submitted him. Dangerous grappler. However, I don't think with Sterling that it's going to be like that. We might just have a shitty kickboxing match on our hand. We'll see. But I like this fight. Definitely approve. And just to throw in a little bit of fun in here, I would see Payton Talba being on this card. I would really see Payton Talba being on this card. I think he fits the vibe of it. And, he just got a good win over Henry Cejudo back in December. This card is in March, I believe. So I know Payton Talbot likes to stay active. That's why I'm putting him on this card. I know he likes to stay active, work his way up the rankings. So everybody that's saying, oh, he just fought Cejudo, he did. But I think Cejudo was the one that was the nail in that fight. He didn't take that much damage. And Cheeto in Miami, it's like 1 + 1 is 2. He'd definitely be down. This would be a reasonable step up in the rankings as well for Payton Talbot, number 12 versus number 8. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good matchup you make. You push him up 4 spots in the ranking. I think Payton, if he were to go on a good winning streak, he's like maybe 2 or 3 fights away from a title shot as well. If he beats Cheeto, he can get a top 5 win. And if he gets that, he's probably looking at a title shot if Dana just fucking puts his cock balls deep into his mouth. But, yeah, that's what we're working with here. Next up, Johnny Walker versus Dominic Reyes. This has already been confirmed as well. Weak chin versus weak chin. Just to kind of spice things up, I think I had this as the prelim header. These two are going to go out there and knock each other out. I would put the house that this fight is literally not going to go the distance or ending by submission. And yeah, they're both. I would actually pick Johnny Walker in this fight. I think just the physicality does it, because Reyes, I heard this narrative going around a lot recently. People think, or used to think, that Reyes was like physically big, but he just kind of looks like a milkbag now. Like, Johnny Walker is just a like, he's fucking big. He's like 6'5" or something. I think even bigger. He's like 6'7". Or is he? Yeah, 6'5", 6'6", something like that. No, his brother is 6'7", right? Absolutely massive. And then he's jacked as fuck too. And Reyes is just kind of like, and that doesn't mean anything in fighting, of course, but still, I just see Johnny Walker being physically like I know he has to just catch him with a jab, but Johnny Walker is gonna just throw a fucking flying ninja kick and fucking chin him. So that's the matchup he can do that, though. That's going to be a cool highlight reel. This has also been targeted for UFC Miami. Paulo was supposed to fight on the BMF card, 326, but moved up to light heavyweight to face off against Makanov. That one is confirmed as well. And I like this matchup. I think it's fun because it's the... Makanov is 5'10", right? And I think he is currently the smallest light heavyweight on the roster. He's, of course, chinning everybody, even though I don't know if Rakic is that impressive of a win. But this is the only way ever we could have had a Paulo Costa being a top 5 ranked light heavyweight in 2026. Just let that sink in. Paulo is having the size advantage here, by the way. This is like the best. Oh, how does that even work, by the way? He gets one win at middleweight, being ranked number 12, and then he moves up and gets a number 5 ranked guy. Like, if Costa beats him and then beats somebody else, he's literally justified, technically, of getting a title shot. Like, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, I kind of fuck with this. Yeah, this is going to be made. Costa's going to win this one, dude. I pick him. I wouldn't shy away from picking him here. This has also been talked about. JDM versus Carlos Prates as the featured fight. Carlos is down. JDM is down. It makes a lot of sense in the division. I don't know why people push for Morales versus Prates. Or actually, I do see why. But I think you could do like they're going to give Kamaru Usman the title shot if we're just being real here. As unfortunate as it is. So maybe you do... I don't know if Gary deserves it yet, though. It sounds crazy because he just beat Bilal, but I don't know. I don't think the UFC is like too keen to make that happen because it's just not a big fight. Let's just face it. That as a pay-per-view headliner is not a big fight. And I think if you do Gary versus Morales as a co-main or something of a big pay-per-view to really push him out there, that makes more sense to then give him a title shot. And in the meantime, you do JDM versus Prates. I think JDM beats the fuck out of Prates. Yeah, you might disagree with me. I think JDM is going to beat Prates pretty badly as well. That's my pick. I don't know if people are going to just say, oh, Prates by KO. Yeah, I see him just ripping a knee down the middle, but I don't know. I think the boxing of JDM is going to really shine here. He looked shit against Islam, but that's about it. Never forget. Never forget. Co-main. Also already in the books, already in the works. I think already confirmed as well. Yuri versus Oldberg. Now, you got to think logically here, though. This fight has to be for the belt. That is pretty much guaranteed. Both of these guys deserve it. Big time. Maybe apart from Oldberg. But Yuri literally comes off a fucking KO streak of, what is it? It's Jamal. He KO'd Jamal Hill and he KO'd Khalil Rountree. That's fucking sick. That's great, right? Versus Oldberg. Would Yuri take the risk of fighting Oldberg when he pretty much has a title shot solidified? I don't think neither of them would. They would both just kind of be on their ass. I know they're Chads, or they're just fucking Chads and the belt is still there and they just do it for the love of the game. Then they're just Chads. Like, you can't do anything about that. But I think this is for the belt. And it's a great fight. I think Yuri's going to win by not fighting technical just because Oldberg is so, like, you know, he's training in the same camp as Izzy, I believe, City Kickboxing. They have a very, like, feint, heavy, technical, look for your shot, yada, yada, yada style. But we're fighting Yuri here. Yuri doesn't fucking... See, feints don't work on Yuri just because even if you weren't feinting, he'd still get hit. So he just doesn't even react to whatever. Yuri's the GOAT, though. I think they're doing this one for the belt. And this pretty much confirms that Alex is moving up. And for the next fight, I think this makes a lot of sense. Pereira versus Gane. This just makes sense. Pereira took no damage against Ankalaev. I don't think he wants to move down or at least stay at 205 anymore. You know, it's pretty obvious. He's been so big recently as well. People have been seeing, we've been seeing clips of him being like 230 pounds recently. And of course, he can just lock in and diet down, or I think it was even heavier than that. Of course, he can just diet down and lock in, but I think he's bulking up right now to fight at heavyweight. I think Gane is I wouldn't say favorable matchup to him. Actually, looking at these two side by side, Gane is pretty fucking big. But because it's a striker, right? Aspinall versus Pereira, they would just never do, just because Aspinall would rape him. But yeah, and Jones, they would also probably not do that to Pereira. I just don't see that happening. And yeah, so just make this fight. Gane took 0 damage in his last fight, apart from maybe a little bit of a scratch on his fingernail. That's, of course, terrible and might keep him out of this fight. But apart from that, let's just run this shit. Makes sense for him in Miami. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think this is realistic. I know maybe a lot of them sound like this one and this one on the same card sound a little bit over the top, but it's literally the fights that are talked about, plus a couple of my own crafty additions. So let me know what y'all think. And yeah, we're probably going to get news on this pretty soon. Thank you for watching.